bam, bam.
Right.
All right, here we go. Hello and welcome to the Rock Metal Podcast. I'm your host, John Harris. On my left-hand side here is my right-hand man, Gabriel.
We have a Roseblade. We need a Grave Walk.
That's right, a Roseblade. We need to Grave Walk. And
Grave Walk.
yeah, and today on the Rock Metal Podcast, we have Violent Life, Violent Death. And they've got a new EP called The Color of Bone, which is released on October 30th via Inner Strikes Records. Right now I'm being joined by Joe and Scott, I am told in Scott's own home, to share some more information about what the band has got going on. So, boys, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good to be here.
Absolutely good to have you guys on. You know, the funny thing is, when I had initially come across the information from Liz over at Earsplit, so shout out to Liz really quick, I thought, Violent Life, Violent Death, this is going to be something I'm probably not going to like. But I listened to it, and I was like, man, this is some great stuff.
Thank you.
Glad to hear that. What was the name? What was the impression it gave you initially before listening?
Something significantly more extreme, to the point where I was getting like a wall of sound of just screaming and nonsense chaos.
Yeah, you hear that? We gotta turn up
Turn up the chaos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, we gotta do a little better. It's good to know.
Exactly. Beautiful. But speaking of which, Roseblade. What is this track about? What is a Roseblade?
It's kind of a correlation between youth, a flower, youth, virginity, the rise and fall of kingdoms. How a rose can be beautiful on top. It's got the thorns to protect it.
A lot of it seemed like the duality.
Yeah.
Essentially between good and evil, and the misleading nature of a rose.
And youth and growing up as well.
So all kinds of good life stuff.
Yeah, for some reason, maybe it's just because I was recently reading some stuff on Taoism. It kind of strikes me as yin yang in a way. There's a positive to the negative and a negative to the positive, and constantly in a swirl. A rise of a kingdom could also signify the fall of that kingdom, but while it's falling, there's also the rise of something else.
It's science.
Absolutely.
And how wasn't there a correlation between like a thorn and a lion's paw and a mouse pulls it out or something like that?
Your lyrics, man.
Yeah.
I think that's in there, right?
Yeah, it is in there, yeah.
House, I don't know.
I'm just like, I think this is right.
Yeah. Yeah, and musically, it was actually the first song that we wrote coming off of our prior EP. Because of that, I feel like, especially the first half of it, has a little bit of the feel from Sadness Reigns, our prior EP, and then the last half of it signifies, or kind of could represent, like the newer style we're going through. So I guess in the song itself, it kind of has the duality as well, in the writing and sound and all that too. So it all kind of worked out a nice little happy accident, I suppose.
Yeah,
But,
I just say riff rules or riff doesn't.
yeah. So I write. God gives me the green or red light. A lot of times I ignore it, though. I'm like, I'm writing this anyways, jerk.
Pretty much. Yeah.
You're going to like it, I promise.
Well, I mean, something you mentioned there was what I like to call the breadcrumbs of the previous record. Either songs that didn't make that record that are revisited, or just, I don't know, the way the previous album or EP was written is still kind of a part of the band's writing style. So I call that breadcrumbs. I guess, how far into this particular EP did the breadcrumbs trail? Did you guys know it was breadcrumbs when you were writing it, or was it more obvious towards the end of the writing?
Kind of more, I don't know. We kind of started writing the song. We wrote the song way earlier, too, than the other one. So I want to say that song was starting to be written around July 2019. And then we didn't really write another song for the album till around December or so. So we kind of had in mind the idea to get a little bit darker and more intense than the previous record. Scott really kind of pushed me to do the opening with Roseblade, just in a super thrashy, just upbeat, kind of deal. And I don't know. I mean, we just kind of write, and there's not like a whole lot of planning, maybe a little bit, but a lot of the good stuff that happens kind of just happens by accident, honestly.
That's true.
I heard the word upbeat in there, or the term upbeat. You can't be a violent wall of sound if you're upbeat.
Yeah.
All right, not to confuse with ska. But, we'll sub out the term upbeat for aggressive. How about that?
Aggressive. There we go. Beautiful.
Aggressive upbeat.
Now, something you mentioned was the writing. I don't know, did it start in July and then take a break, or was it kind of like, as you mentioned previously, oops, a happy accident, here's this song, and then don't really know what to do with it, we'll just hang on to it, and then formal writing, I guess, started in December?
Yeah, so that song was kind of written as a standalone, July, August, and for whatever reason, I think we got...
tired of playing our old stuff.
which is always a constant problem. No, but I think we got it started to get involved with the cover, so we did No Effects. So we kind of took a break from writing for the new album, did that No Effects cover, and then the rest of the album picked up writing in December and basically went December through February. And we were actually kind of worried that Roseblade did not fit in with the rest of the album sonically. But I think looking at it back, it worked out really well. And I think it's a good song that kind of signifies the duality between the new sound and the old sound a little bit. Okay.
Now, is the duality something that is a theme throughout the entire EP, or is it just in this one song, aside from a new sound versus old sound, that will be present on the EP?
We expand on some ideas that we found in Sadness Reigns and made them a little more prevalent, like some of the talking vocals. So what do you call those? Where you just have those big open chords stuff.
Yeah, really just try to make things have more of an air to it, more open and all that. Our first two albums were very just like in your face all the time, and that's kind of always been a theme with us, and we figured that would get kind of monotonous after a while. And so with Sadness Reigns, we kind of just started experimenting with different darker sounds, a little bit more open, not so aggressive all the time. And going into The Color of Bone, we wanted to take the darker elements from Sadness Reigns and really just beef it up big time, and then kind of give a huge punch like we used to have in our previous records.
Okay. Are you guys happy with that? Do you feel that you guys did a good job doing that?
Absolutely. I think so.
Yeah,
I'm super proud of that album. So.
I mean,
Scott hates everything.
I hate everything. No, I think it's awesome. I think it's our best one. I know everybody says that, but I personally, it's my favorite stuff we've written. So I can't be any more happy with it. So
yeah, every album we just try to grow. Try not to repeat ourselves too much. We want people to see a progression, or even we want to ourselves, display progression. It's something that we want to do with songwriting and lyrics and all that anyways. So try to keep things different, not too different though.
Yeah, I mean, it's not too terribly often that a band as heavy as yourselves comes on, and the first thing that comes out is the duality or the misleading nature of a rose. So poetic.
Yeah, I used to just...
Very poetic man.
I used to just cuss lyrics. Now I'm like, oh, God, too old to just cuss the whole time.
Real deep, lots of metaphors and stuff, man. SAT words and stuff. I'm like, what is this? I gotta look these words up, man.
The thesaurus is your best friend. Yeah.
There we go. Now, something you guys mentioned was writing the EP into like January, February. Then obviously in North America, shortly thereafter, chaos hit and a lot of things have happened throughout the rest of the year. Was it an interruption to the plan? Or did you guys make the best out of what happened with coronavirus this year? How has the year gone for VLVD?
It's been wild, man. Obviously, it messed up a lot of stuff we had planned this year. We had some tours and stuff like that we wanted to do, and just playing out as much as possible.
So March
has always been a goal.
March 8th, we finished our little run with Iron Price and Gloves Off. So we got done. That was our last show. It was in Manassas, Maryland, Virginia. And then like a week later, everything just shut down, and we were like, well, we were supposed to record, so they kind of just all recorded separately. It was pretty interesting.
Yeah, that was the one positive thing about this, is it gave us a lot more time to really sit down and focus on the production and writing and all things recording with the album. Usually we feel kind of rushed and stuff deadlines and this and that, but with the world being shut down and all that, it gave us a time that we wouldn't normally have to really focus on making the album just really as good as possible. So, and I would like to think, or we feel we accomplished that. So that's really been the big positive.
Yeah.
And it's given us some time too to like beef up on just like other types of content and stuff like that and merch and all that, and just having to get creative with these times, man. So it's been interesting. Really hoping that shows come back sometime in the near future, though.
Yeah, but who knows with the shows thing.
Yeah, I mean, when this all started, I had no idea. Like, it was March. And I was like, yeah, we'll be fine by June, whatever. And here we are, like 8 months later, man. So I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned being able to focus more on the production and writing. And so one of my questions was going to be, well, if you guys had the time, did it come down to a choice of maybe coming out with a full album, or did you guys just really want to make sure that you had, I'm trying to see how many songs again are on the EP 455, that these 5 would just be complete, total, solid bangers?
That's always kind of been our theme. That's always kind of been our theme. We want to write all good songs, no fillers. Hopefully we accomplish that goal, and to really come out with new material every year. It's kind of different than a lot of bands do. Typically, a band will come out with a full length, maybe like once every 3 years with 10 or so songs. So we figured if we can give people 5 to 6 new songs every year, and show some kind of growth too within that time period, then I think that we see that as a positive. So one day we'll do a full length. Honestly, I just
it's so hard,
like a lot, man.
so
Writing 10 songs for an album, I'm like, oh my god.
You guys had mentioned independently recording. Was it all fed into somebody in a studio somewhere to do the final mixing and mastering?
Yeah, so this, as Scott mentioned earlier, the process was a little different this time. So we had a lot of the recording sessions took place in different places. So David, our drummer, actually recorded it at his house. And then guitars recorded in another location. And then Scott did vocals in Hickory at the studio and all that. So, that was different. It was fun. It worked out really well.
Mm-hmm.
So, and the cool thing about that too is like recording all the things in these different places. It got us the chance to really sit down and hone in on it to make sure stuff is perfect versus like feeling rushed or nervous in the studio. Like I have to nail this right now versus like a situation that's a little bit more comfortable,
it was like
personal.
10,000 mixes.
Yeah.
I guess one of my next questions is, when it came to refining the writing and the production, where did you guys spend the most time refining that maybe you normally wouldn't have? Was it in rewriting parts, arrangements? Was it in doing more takes because it doesn't cost you any money to do more takes?
All right, so I'll say this actually. The writing was all done before the studio. And I know I said that earlier, that we expanded on in the studio. Studio, mostly with the time we were given, the extra time was all mix. So we went through guitar tones, just overall mix tones, like all kinds of stuff. We probably spent what felt like 2 months, honestly, on just like getting a solid mix. And that, I think it was all the difference, really. We've been going to the same guy for every album, and props to him for this last one, man, because he knocked it out of the park. And I think it was really awesome just to have that extra time to sit down and fiddle with stuff, while the world was shut down.
And all I said was, can you make my vocals louder?
That's all he did. Like, not too loud, Kyle.
Can you just make them louder?
Covered up my guitars, man.
Yeah. Metal's kind of always one of those funny things where it's like, the best way I heard it described was metal's like a boat with the vocals. Half of it's underneath the guitars, the other half is kind of bobbing up and down every now and again. Whereas like pop is one of those airplanes, one of those water airplanes. It's always very much on top. So I'd say it's a really good balance what you guys do with the vocals there.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I agree.
Good job.
Kind of interesting question. Why the choice to do the vocals in a studio but the drums not? Or was it where the drums recorded treated?
Are you asking why were they done in separate areas?
I think if I heard correctly, you mentioned that the drums were done in a house and the vocals were done in a professional studio, unless I misheard that.
Yes, that's correct. So David, our drummer, recorded the drums in his basement.
Okay.
So, and this is back when like things were super locked down, shut down for COVID, and people literally weren't leaving their houses.
And we couldn't even go over to other people's houses.
Yeah, traveling to other people's houses was limited. Everyone was kind of really on edge. So David actually really took the time to research and fine-tune recording his drums, not for the first time, but I think probably more of a in-depth time than he has, if that makes sense. But and he did a fantastic job with that too. And he was super happy as well, because usually he'll get in the studio and kind of feel rushed and all that. Whereas opposed to this time with all the other instruments and all that, he was able to really sit down and mess with it. And then he'd send me a mix and I'd be like, nope, change this, this, and this, and this. And fantastic job there. So I'm glad that he got to really have that opportunity at his house, just sit down and just really immerse himself in it.
Yeah, because he got to actually write a lot of parts that we wouldn't have thought of to do because he had all the time.
Yeah.
To like really feel the music, as opposed to just being like, I got to do all this in one day. Okay,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't think people realize the time strain that bands are on in between touring and everything else to get records done these days, and especially with technology, it's easier to do stuff at home. But what kind of roles, especially now, professional studios are taking for bands?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And we got lucky because that's also our friend. So he gives us a lot of time.
Yeah. Kyle's awesome. Shout out to Rare Form Recordings. It's just a little house studio, but the stuff he's got coming out there sounds fantastic.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Now, something you mentioned was thinking of some new and creative ways to connect with fans during this time. What does that look like? What kind of things are you guys doing that either you never thought you would do, or that you're doing more of just because you have to?
Well, I would say like doing covers we've always wanted to do, like the NoFX Quaz cover. That was something we had been talking about doing for how many years?
15.
And he's like, dude, I'm not ready to start writing a new record. And he's, all right, well, let's do something we've always wanted to do. You know, we may have some more of that stuff like that coming out. Always keeping the merch updated with new ideas. They can't see us live. Maybe they would want to purchase some shirts or windbreakers or.
Yeah. So the next thing on the agenda is, it looks like we're going to do like a live stream thing, considering everything that's going down. I was really hoping that things would be normal by now. And to be honest, I kind of was not into the live stream idea when people first started doing it. When COVID came around, just because I didn't want to really kind of help contribute towards that being the new norm, because that's kind of depressing.
How do you really feel?
Yeah. So, but
it is depressing. Let's not lie about it.
I know. So, I don't know how things are going to be going now. So at this point, content is content.
Yeah.
If we do a live stream thing, it's something new to put out for people to see. And I think right now too, with shows not going on, just got to find a lot of ways to stay on people's radar and all that. So we're gonna look to do something like that with a few other bands in December.
Mm-hmm.
Some other music video ideas perhaps, but yeah, still kind of racking our brain with it all, to be honest. But there's those things.
Okay. Now, the other track we were going to chat about today was Grave Walk, which, if I recall correctly, opens up the EP. Is this more of the new sound, and is that also why we wanted to chat about it as a juxtaposition with Roseblade?
Yeah.
It's my favorite song.
Yeah.
On the EP.
I'd say that song's probably the most represents the new sound. Maybe that and the last one on the new record the most. Shit, really all of them maybe, except for Roseblade. But, that song came together really awesome. We just picked it because we like it a lot. That was a great opener.
For me, Roseblade Grave Walk felt like just a different take on. There wasn't necessarily writing for here comes the mosh call or here comes whatever. It just seems like a solid song.
A little bit of that in there.
Yeah, there's a little bit. What I'm saying is, to me, it sounds like a full song. Like it has all the moving parts that you would see in any normal band. Which is what I really enjoyed.
We just thought it was a solid song, man, honestly. So we liked it.
Mm-hmm. What is this Grave Walk? Is there some beautiful poetic meaning to the Grave Walk?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Well, that's funny. When people are asking about, can you give me what is the song about? Joe hits me up. He's like, "Tell me," and I give the simplest answer. I'm like, "Bro, it's about walking through a graveyard of what the feeling must be like." And he's like,
literally just be that.
"Yeah."
Like, make it work. I'm like, where's the lyrics?
I'm like, yes, that's what I mean. It's literally just like how silent graveyards are, and how much emotion is passed through the stone and the dirt the bodies are in, and all that.
Scott gets
Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool though.
Yeah. Well, I was just listening to, the record before we jumped onto this call, and one of the things I had noticed was, going back to the production value, how crisp and clean it is. It's almost like I can walk around the mix. And I'm just kind of curious, diving into those tones, if you guys know, or unless they were just, remixed without you guys kind of being there, reamped or whatever, what kind of went into crafting the sound so it's clean, it's tight, it's modern?
I mean, you can point at me. I don't know. I tell our recording guy what sounds good and what doesn't. You'd probably have to talk to him. But, yeah, I don't know. He did some special fancy stuff this time around. I don't know what he did.
And personally, I think...
It sounded great.
The other... everybody in the band besides me, is just really musically talented. And they all have ears for production. They all record their own music whether they're doing other bands or listening to our mixes. So they kind of have an ear of what sounds the best that I would never pick up on. Like I said, can you just make my vocals louder?
Yeah, that's it. Scott's easy to please. But yeah, we're lucky to have a good solid group of guys who have a lot of knowledge in that whole realm. I think honestly everyone records in the band except for me and Scott. I'm trying to get started.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then too, working with our Kyle, who does Rare From Recordings, just over all these years, he's kind of become like a sixth member in a way. He knows, I feel like, the sounds we like, guitar tones and all that kind of stuff. He understands what we're trying to go for and all that. So he's super complimentary to what we're trying to do when it comes to getting our material on a recording.
Okay. Now, something you had mentioned was looking for some live streams, maybe some other merchandise. Is there perhaps maybe another EP in the works?
Scott has been on my butt.
Yeah, I have.
For the last month about getting this thing written.
Last month? More like last 3 months.
Last 2 months?
Yeah.
All right, probably 3.
No, but we definitely have some stuff coming soon. Yeah, we do. I'll just say that.
Yeah, we're working. We got a first song for the new album in the works. We have decided, however, to take a little bit of a pause on that, and we are doing a cover song, which we are super, super excited about. I don't know how much about it we want to say.
Yeah, we'll see how it sounds first.
We'll see it's going to sound fantastic. Scott always says this.
Yeah.
So we're going to do this cover, just as another way to get some more content out there fast. Like, this album just came out a couple weeks ago, and we just want to kind of keep doing stuff to stay on people's radar, like what we were talking about earlier. So we can do this cover, get it out maybe January or so.
But it's definitely a cover that you will not expect. I'll just tell you that. Yeah, at all.
Not. So
it's nothing new. I'll tell you that 100%.
Yeah, we'll say this, man. We've been trying to think forever. God, we always talk about doing covers.
Yeah.
It's always like, what can we do that's super cool, that's kind of old, something that's not necessarily our style of music,
that
could translate well, that we loved, and that people will know. And I think this checks off all the boxes.
I'm voting for Echo Beach. That's what I'm voting for.
Might be, might not be.
I'm curious. So how have the fans, because you guys are obviously very excited about the covers, are the fans just as excited about the covers?
We just kind of drop it on them. Like, I don't even know if anybody's ever listened to that NoFX Dying Degree Quad song in their youth or growing up.
Maybe.
So,
I mean the NoFX cover's got a pretty good amount of plays on Spotify.
Mm-hmm.
But really we kind of just did that for us. Like, we've been super huge NoFX fans forever. I mean, we were real big into the whole skate punk scene in the late 90s and all that. Mm-hmm. And we've just been talking about that through multiple bands we've been in over the years of covering that song. So we finally felt like it was time, and we owed it to ourselves, and so we did it. If people like it, if not, whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, cool.
Awesome. All right. Well, we've chatted about Roseblade, Grave Walk, the EP, The Color of Bone. We've chatted about how this year has gone for you guys, what you've been up to, what you've got coming up, those dreaded live streams. Next will be drive-in concerts. You guys will be doing drive-in shows.
Oh.
And I even saw Flaming Lips is doing the whole like
Bubble.
everyone's in a bubble. Yeah. So maybe
Oh,
we'll
boy.
take some looking into that.
I'm not doing that.
Imagine playing drums in the car.
Yeah, playing drums in the car. Perfect. All right. Did I miss anything that you guys wanted to chat about?
I don't know. Anything else?
Not that I can think of. Interstrength Records has been awesome. They got some new releases coming up with some of our friends.
Yeah.
That's got Nuclear Desolation. Did it get released or is it getting ready to get released?
That's actually coming out on a week from today.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, shout out to Interstrength. Jason's been awesome, and he's been snagging up a lot of North Carolina talent too, as well. Like Scott said, Nuclear Desolation, Basilica, and more. There's a lot of talent in North Carolina. So I guess we'll shout that out.
Yeah. Kyle.
Yep. Excellent job recording.
Yeah.
So,
Ear Split. Yeah.
Yeah. All that good stuff. All good stuff.
Okay. Perfect. I just thought of barbecue. You mentioned North Carolina. I just thought of barbecue.
Yeah, ours is the best. You're correct.
That's pretty good.
Beautiful. Is there, excuse my ignorance, is there like a North Carolina, South Carolina, difference between barbecue?
Vinegar base versus mustard base.
Okay. Who's got the vinegar? Who's got the mustard?
So North Carolina is vinegar. South Carolina is mustard. What I'm about to say is probably sacrilegious, but the South Carolina mustard sauce is tight. Yeah. But I love the vinegar too. It's just I don't ever get the South Carolina sauce, so it's always new to me.
Yeah, I don't know nothing about any of that.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Eats like 600 chicken nuggets a week, so
I do. Good diet, lots of protein, cheap.
Exactly. Beautiful. All right. Well, then, boys, that concludes my question. So I wanted to thank you guys so much for coming on to the Rock and Roll Podcast today.
Absolutely.
Right,
We
thank you
appreciate
very
you
much.
having us, John. It's been awesome.
Hey, go ahead and stop, please, sweetie.